Welcome back once again to Inside the Pylon, a Midwest College football podcast, joined as always by Clinton Boring. My name is Ryan Satkoviak. You guys are listening now to week 3 of 4 of our quote-unquote bye weeks, our non-live episodes that we're pre-recording. Here it is, presently January 26th. As I am speaking to you, you guys are probably going to listen to this in the middle of February. Maybe after the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl might have happened by this point, Clinton.
Yeah. Just so you guys know, we're going to look in the future. The Chiefs win. We already know it.
Yeah, that's right. As we are watching this right now, the Chiefs currently have a 7-point lead over the Bills with 8 minutes and 47 seconds left in the fourth quarter. So we'll see if that holds true. This could be funny to look at.
Absolutely. Ryan, I am good, man. It's been a good weekend as we record here again. Which went too fast as it always does. I'm entering, what are we now, week 4 of our students, because we both have Ohio University students who are in the same class. So week 4 of that. So Ryan and I's workload should be lessening, which means we can have more podcast fun on the side. Ryan, how are you?
Oh, just peachy. I'm having fun. I'm excited to be here. I played 2 hockey games last night. My left hamstring hurts. Usually I got like a right hamstring tendonitis that's not bugging me too much right now. But now my left one hurts, so that's fun. Good times.
Well, we talked about at the end of the last one that we just recorded, we're like, wow, we went a long time. Well, we spent the first 20 minutes talking about Ohio State's defensive coordinator problem.
Also true.
So we won't be doing that this episode.
Also, last night, I got Taco Bell on the way home. I sat in the drive-through line for 35 minutes. There were 5 cars. There were 5 cars in front of me.
You sat there for 35 minutes just to have your butthole be on fire.
No, it wasn't that bad. I didn't have a nasty poop or anything.
Did they give you your stuff this time and not forget something?
Yeah, they got all my stuff. I think they put a little extra meat in my burritos too. I think they felt bad that I was sitting there for so long.
They should have. And put some other stuff in there too.
Well, yeah, probably the dog food and whatever else whatever, man. It's a guilty pleasure. I don't even care. It tastes good.
Is Taco Bell your favorite fast food?
Define fast food.
Wendy's, Burger King, Taco Bell.
Oh yeah, I don't eat any. I don't eat any other fast food.
Okay, that's fair. I do appreciate a good Taco Bell, a little meat and cheese taco.
Taco Bell.
Take me back.
I mean, yeah, because anything else like dining out like pizza or Buffalo Wild Wings or something, I couldn't tell you. I'll get like a weird craving for McDonald's once every like 7 months.
Never. Not loving it.
It's not. I mean, no, I eat it and then I feel terrible after. I'm like, this is why I don't eat. I eat this once a year, and that's why. Every now, but sometimes the itch strikes, and it's like.
Couldn't tell you the last time I had Taco Bell. If we're eating fast food out, the boys love chicken nuggets from Wendy's, so it's usually Wendy's.
Wendy's does have a superior chicken nugget. I just don't ever crave it.
It's hear that, Wendy's Twitter? I'm gonna cut this. And I hope you follow us because you guys are banger. I love your meat and I love your nuggies.
Don't you have somebody who works for Wendy's corporate? How have you not gotten us a Wendy's sponsorship?
I do, but I'm not going to name names on the podcast. I don't want to get them in trouble.
Okay, but how have you not gotten us a Wendy's sponsorship?
I'm trying. He said we have to get big enough, and then he'll work on it.
All right, well, you just show him our YouTube numbers. Our YouTube numbers are okay. The podcast numbers aren't great. The YouTube numbers are good. We use that as the selling point.
Hi-ho, Wendy's. We're coming for you, Wendy's Twitter. I'm going to cut this, and I want you to give us at least a tweet back.
Listen, we'll advertise your saucy nuggets. I don't even care. Give me a
saucy nuggets.
Give me a gift card or something. I don't give a shit. Okay, so today we are talking our way too early preseason Big Ten power rankings for 2025. And by way too early, I mean, I don't know anything about these teams and what they have coming back other than cursory level information. So after we do our deep dives in the spring, this is surely to change, but this is just based on early impressions.
There'll be a little less way too early by the time this show airs.
Also true. Yep. We might be a couple of weeks away from spring practice by that point. But yes, again, this is not like the definitive list. This is just kind of early impressions. Please don't get mad or get mad. I don't really give a shit. If you're a nameless, faceless account on Twitter, I don't care what you have to say. Like, truly just don't care.
He doesn't care.
I don't care. I don't care.
All right. Well, let's get into it, Ryan. I started us off in the last show and kind of led through. So, you want to go 1 to 18 or 18 to 1?
I think we should do 1 to 18.
I concur. So,
unless
Ryan,
you really want to start the show off talking about Purdue, man.
Wait, they're my number 10. What are you talking about? I'm
Stop
kidding.
it. Stop it.
No pun intended here, Ryan, but why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
Clinton, my number 1 team in the Big Ten, and
don't
they will
do it, Ryan.
be my number 1 team in college football heading into next year, is the Penn State Nittany Lions.
You're high. Sorry, Matt. I'm sure you're listening, but you are high.
I am
Real
not
quick,
high.
let's give us
I've never been more. Actually, I can't say I've never been more sober than I am right now because I had 2 margaritas at dinner today. I've worn off. I am not drunk. I am not high. I'm high only on Penn State and the vibes they have. Call them Michigan-esque. Call them Ohio State-esque. They're bringing the crew back together. They're adding the mercenaries for the run. They hire Jim Knowles away from Ohio State. They're bringing back Andy Kotelnicki.
That was a poorly timed celebration because you said they hired Knowles away from Ohio State, and I cheered.
Bumped it. No, you asshole. You're 5 seconds ahead of me.
I'm
so now I know
sorry.
what's gonna happen.
I'm so excited. Go
That's
Bills!
that was like during the national championship game when I refused to watch the game with Sam and her feed was 3 seconds faster than mine. So when they completed that pass to Smith, I just hear, I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. And then I like look up, I look back over and it's coming into the screen. He's wide open. I'm like, fuck. Listen, I mean, Penn State is going to be fascinating for so many reasons. I mean, they're bringing everyone back. The defense should be nasty next year. The offense should be better. But I don't think that this is necessarily as like whiz bang. They're definitely the favorite as like Ohio State and Michigan both were because those two teams were bringing things back everywhere. Penn State still has a dearth of wide receivers, man. Like the wide receiver, like it was dire this year. It's bad next. Like they need somebody in the spring because I like the Kyron Hudson ad from USC. I don't remember the kid's name that they brought in from Troy, but those G5 to P5 receivers, they go one of 2 ways. Either the guy is like Tez Johnson where he just explodes, or you never hear from him. And Penn State fans have their own.
What was the young man's name from Kent State that
Dante
went to Penn
Cephas.
State? That never did anything.
Didn't do a damn thing.
See, so he didn't do anything, so I forgot his name. He did about as much as the Penn State receivers against Notre Dame.
Yeah, nothing. So, like, that's because it'd be one thing if you bring those 2 guys in and you're adding it to what you already have. But you lose Trey Wallace, you lose Amari Evans, you're losing Tyler Warren.
Your entire offense, Tyler Warren.
Yes. I mean, bringing back the running backs is great. Bringing back Drew Aller is fantastic. I think he should continue to ascend. But you have to get him someone out wide to throw to. And I know that Michigan made it chic to win a national title with having a barely functioning passing game a couple years ago, even though J.J. McCarthy ended up being a top 10 pick. I get it, whatever. But at least like Roman Wilson was a fine college wide receiver who ended up getting drafted. There's nobody on this Penn State receiving room that you look at and it's like, that guy's going to be an NFL draft pick.
Hey, Julian Fleming might get drafted. He can block.
There's not even a guy in the receiver room that you look at and it's like, this guy's going to be an undrafted free agent who plays on the practice squad. It's just a bunch of crap there. So maybe this ends up being foolhardy. Maybe Penn State doesn't end up developing a passing game and it goes kabooey on them. But I think the fascinating thing about Penn State is like with this set of like bringing the crew back, like with these vibes comes a larger set of expectations. How do they respond to that? Because we talked about it on our last episode. Like Penn State didn't really do a lot this season to move the needle for me. I think they had a very good season, and that's not to shortchange the season that they had. But nothing Penn State did this last year makes me think, wow, they took that next step. So not only are you looking at them next year saying you need them to take that next step, you're expecting that next step to be national champions. What happens if they don't do that? What happens if you bring the whole crew back and you fall short? Does then the heat start to turn up on James Franklin? I don't know. I think it's going to be fascinating to watch. But based on what they have coming back, and this is a lot based on what the teams around them have coming back too, right? Like Ohio State's turning over their whole roster. Oregon's turning over a bunch of their roster as well. I think Penn State is perfectly positioned to have this roster with what they have coming back in relation to what the rest of the Big Ten has coming back as well. So for me, they're my number 1 team coming into the Big Ten next year.
Now or never, do or die, essentially, for them.
It's like a if not now, when.
Ryan, you want to hear some breaking news in Columbus right now?
Another one?
Don't take a drink because you're going to spit everywhere.
Another one?
Nick Saban has been spotted at John Glenn International Airport.
There's no fucking way. I don't believe that for a second.
Saban's coming home, where he started. Buckeyes and Caleb Downs. No, I'm just kidding you. People are trying to spread the rumors today that he was in Upper Arlington looking at houses. I'm like,
I mean,
first of
Upper
all,
Arlington is a very nice place.
yes, like how would that even work though? Saban and Day on the same roster,
There's no way.
that
There's
seems like
no
way
way.
too big of an ego.
There's no way.
All right, back to the current hand. Number 1 for me, the Oregon Ducks. They're going to lose Gabriel. They're going to lose Jordan James, Tez Johnson, Derek Harmon. But they added the stud Tulane running back Makai Hughes. They have former 5-star Decoria and more. Here we are, junior year, and we're talking about his former 5-star ranking. But he has started a handful of games for UCLA. Brian, they just have a ton of talent, both in the portal that they've brought in. Maybe they can be the team that can finally turn around Bear Alexander's career. I'm not high on that, but potentially. Dan Lanning's a great coach. I think they're going to be extremely motivated off the disappointing end to the season.
Mm-hmm.
They still have the Twin Towers that Mateo Uiagalelei's dad called them.
Birch is gone.
Birch is gone?
Birch is gone.
That's why they have Mateo and the next guy behind him. New Towers.
A new tower.
But Oregon Ducks, number 1 for me.
Fascinating. Number 2, I have Ohio State.
I also have Ohio State, so let's knock this one out.
They should still be good on defense. You touched on it a couple weeks ago when we talked. Even though they're replacing a lot of the frontline guys on defense, they're still very talented. They recruit very well, and they got a lot of those guys significant playing time this year. I think it's going to be interesting early in the season, especially with what they end up doing at defensive coordinator. Again, we don't know what that is as we record this. By the time you listen to this, that will likely have been settled.
Guaranteed it's done.
But I like the back 7 here. I mean, you got Jermaine Matthews, Igbinosun. If they just got to put the gloves on him, man. Don't let him hold people. Like, listen, buddy, you're not getting any interceptions. Just go for passes defended. But we're putting the gloves on you so you cannot hold people. The 2 really good cornerbacks. Replacing Lathan Ransom is going to be tough, but Caleb Downs is a freak of nature at safety. You probably have the best 2 players on their respective sides of the ball in college football with him and Jeremiah Smith. I saw some videos. People were posting videos of Julian Sand throwing the football. His throwing motion is so slick.
He is fast.
Very quick release. I think
Flick of a wrist.
I get that, like, 5-star quarterback doesn't necessarily always pan out, but if there's anyone who's going to get that kid playing to his potential, I mean, Ryan Day does a pretty good job at that. So I'm fascinated to see him next year. And I mean, F it, Smith's down there somewhere. That's a hell of a weapon to have. So as long as he's on the team, you still have Carnell Tate. I'm curious what they do at running back because they're losing the top 2
guys. That deal from Oregon wasn't good enough to get him out of
Ohio State, did you see the Dr. Pepper commercial that Will Howard did?
I believe so. But refresh me.
It was very. I don't know how to phrase it, man. You should go to his Instagram. You should just watch it on air right now.
Doesn't he wink on it?
Yes.
Yes, I've seen it.
It was so.
I need to refresh, but
it was so bad. Ryan Day commented on it. He's like, "At least you did this after we won the national title." the comments on it were so funny. I think it was like I think it might have been Luke Montgomery was like, "You better have gotten paid a lot of money for this." It was bad. Okay, if you're listening, okay, I get it. This is like 2 weeks after the fact, but if you have not seen it, if you're listening to this, go to Will Howard's Instagram and find this Dr. Pepper ad. It was really funny. I laughed.
Great. Yes, Ohio State going to lose a ton on D, but they're also bringing some of the more key pieces back, right? Because we all knew the DEs were going to eventually go and the D tackles, but I'm excited for the youth on the D line. There's a lot more speed. Caden Curry is electric fast. Kenyatta Jackson, at this point, fast. Looks like he has a little more bend than JT and Jack. Not quite the bull rush that they had. And they got a lot of depth. They did lose Hero Canoe at defensive tackle. That's the only guy off the defense that I believe they lost to the portal. Somehow they found a way to pay Davison Igbinosun and Jermaine Matthews. But Ryan, not to get too far into the spring, but they are also bringing in Devin Sanchez, who was the number 1 corner in this past class. And I have been told by numerous people he is the Jeremiah Smith of cornerbacks. Like, this kid's going to play day 1 and might beat out Igbinosun or Matthews to start day 1, or force one of them to move to more like the slot or Jordan Hancock role. The big one back, too, is Sonny Styles. Bringing him back to lead the linebacker crew. Ohio State, number 2 for me. And then I'm going to knock this one out since you've already talked about them. Number 3 for me is Penn State. They're taking the OSU Michigan route. The core of the offense is returning. 4 of 5 offensive linemen return. Aller's back. Allen's back. Singleton's back. Warren's gone, and they still have no pass catchers. Ryan already touched on the defense, adding Jim Knowles, plus what they bring back. I believe KJ Winston's coming back, right?
I think
Because he
so.
missed the season, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's coming back. So that's a key piece, because if you need safeties to run Jim Knowles' defense, if you do not, you're going to get smoked for big plays. But Penn State, number 3 for me. Ryan, you're number 3.
Number 3, I have Oregon.
So our top 3 is all the same.
Our
Just
top
a slight
3 is
difference.
the same. I'm not sure how. I know like they're recruiting very well. They'll be a little bit younger. I haven't been like in the weeds on what their portal class is. I'm assuming that Dante Moore will be quarterback for them next year. So fascinated to see the growth that he has had between last season as a freshman at UCLA and this season just kind of sitting and learning that offense. But they are going to need a new number 1 receiver with Tez Johnson moving on to the NFL. They're going to need a new running back. They're losing a couple pieces on the offensive line as well. So I know they stocked up well. You mentioned the transfer running back from Tulane. I know they're bringing Evan Stewart back, but I don't know how sold I am on Dante Moore as a quarterback yet. So
Absolutely.
fascinating to see there.
Swing us to your number 4. So we're
Number
back in
4,
rhythm
I
here.
have Illinois, the Fighting
Okay.
Illini. They biggest question there is going to be wide receiver. They are losing both Franklin and Bryant, but they're bringing Altmaier back. They're bringing their running backs back. They're bringing a ton back on defense, and they're bringing a ton back on the offensive line. They have a pretty good nucleus of players next year.
And
They're going to be fun to watch.
Friendly schedule. They draw Ohio State, but at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember 07 very vividly when Illinois had a good team and beat Ohio State, who was number 1. Number 4 for me. I'm going to give a shout out and some props to the Michigan Wolverines. Maybe I'm a little high on them coming off the way they
Interesting.
ended the season. They are bringing in Mikey Keene, a veteran quarterback from Fresno State who also had a stop at UCF. So we have the veteran experience. Meanwhile, newcomer Bryce Underwood. The problem that I see here, Ryan, is that how much pressure does Mikey Keene with $12 million man Bryce Underwood breathing down his neck? They had a great portal class. They also added Justice Haynes. They got Jordan Marshall at running back, who is supposed to be a stud. And they finished 24 on a high note, as I mentioned. So another year for Sharon Moore to prove that he belongs as a coach. Again, another strong finish to the season. He keeps building on it. Will we ever see NCAA sanctions about this Michigan team in the offseason? Probably not. Don't think it's ever going to happen. But Michigan, number 4.
Number 5, Clinton. I have Indiana. I'm expecting the Hoosiers to maintain kind of a status quo after this great season they had this year. Obviously, they are losing a fair amount, especially from that defensive line. TJ West, I saw making plays at, I don't remember if it was Shrine Bowl or the Senior Bowl practices this week. James Carpenter as well on that defensive line coming back where they're bringing back Mikhail Kamara. That's a big addition to the defense. Going to be a new quarterback with Curtis Rourke moving on to the NFL, but Fernando Mendoza was very good at Cal this year. I think he should
Even
seamlessly
better with Signetti now.
step in, and they're bringing back both Omar Cooper and Elijah Surratt. He's
Waffle
always
House,
open.
baby.
He's always open. So the offense should still be good next year. Bring back a couple of guys in the back seven too. Like I think Pons is coming back, so they should still. I mean, the schedule's
All
a little
5'3" of them.
all 5'3" of them. Yep. Schedule's tougher. Schedule's tougher this year, so they're going to have to take a step forward, I think, to still kind of be in that 10-win range. But I still expect them to be pretty good next year.
All right, I'm going to give you my 5 and 6 because they are the same teams as your 4 and 5.
Got
Number 5 for me, the Illinois Fighting Illini. Are they this year's Indiana? Ryan has already mentioned Altmaier returns to lead the team, as he mentioned other players who are coming back, so I'm going to save you guys time on that. They only draw Ohio State from what we would consider the elite tier of teams, being Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State, and if generally you want to call Michigan up there as well. They don't pull those guys. And they get Ohio State at home. So can Illinois cause some chaos in the Big Ten and make the playoff? Number 6 for me, Indiana. Ryan already just mentioned this of key players returning. Kamara, Surratt. They add Roman Hemby, Mendoza, and tons more of G5 talent. Can Signetti stop punting the ball and help return Indiana to go to the playoff? Ryan, number 6 for you.
Clinton, I have Nebraska at number 6, and I think I'm going to regret that decision.
Wow. I'm baffled that you didn't have Michigan in your top 6. I really am.
I have them at 7, but
Okay.
I think Raiola is going to take a big step forward this year, in part because they are actually bringing him in some receivers. Dane Key from Kentucky and Isaiah Hunter from Cal, two very good receivers. They had Jamal Banks from Wake Forest last year, and then God, I'm blanking on the kid's name that they brought over from Texas.
Isaiah Nair.
Isaiah Nair
Who
from
is back
Texas.
again, I believe.
Good players. I think this is a huge step forward with that receiver room. I know losing the defensive coordinator is going to be a blow, but Nebraska never seems to be hurting for a good defense. So I think the offense will take a big step forward next year with Raiola.
Absolutely.
So excited to see how wrong or right I am on this.
All right, go and tackle your 7. You said it's Michigan.
Yeah, number 7, I have Michigan. This is one that I think if I could be laughably underselling on, it could be them. It's just so hard for me to look at this team losing 4 first-round picks plus a guy you mentioned the last episode in Josiah Stewart, who borderline day 1, day 2 pick, depending on how his testing goes. Like, that's a lot to lose from the defense, and I know they have some good guys coming back to step in. I know the safety who tore his ACL, missed the whole year, he's coming back. But I just can't get over offensively. Like, you didn't really bring in a ton in the wide receiver room. I know they brought in the kid from Indiana who didn't really play a ton this year. I've completely been blanking on his name as well. But you're putting a lot on Bryce Underwood. And I know they brought in Mikey Keene, but again, they're paying Bryce Underwood $12 million over 4 years or whatever that figure ends up being. Like, they're bringing him in to start. No bones about it. This kid is being brought in to start. And that's a lot of pressure to put on a kid. And what are you doing over there?
I'm watching the Will Howard clip. I have seen it. That's phenomenal.
It's so funny.
Oh my God.
So, like, if Bryce Underwood is a hit, I think Michigan can challenge for a Big Ten title. The issue is if he's not ready or he's not good, they're going to be bad again. The defense is probably going to take a step back. It's so funny. It's so funny.
So horrible.
It's so funny.
But he's the perfect person to do it.
Mm-hmm. He leaned into it.
Good job,
leaned
Will
into
Howard.
it.
All
But
right,
yeah, man, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Number 7 for me, Minnesota Golden Gophers. They got 3 O-line in the portal to help revamp it after they lost one to Ohio State. Marcellus Marshall from UCF on the O-line. That is a name to watch, and I would expect if we can get in contact with Mr. Ryan Burns, he will bring that name up as well. Key looking forward to 2025 is Darius Taylor's health, man. And then quarterback play, Zach Pyron coming in from Georgia Tech versus Drake Lindsey, who has been in the system. They do get a favorable schedule draw. They got, and here's the chuck up by the Bills. Favorable schedule draw, just Ohio State and Oregon. So a 10-2 potentially if they pull an upset, 11-1. We'll see. Ryan, number 8 for you.
That's a bummer. Number 8, I have Iowa. The defense should still be pretty good next year. I know there's been some consternation over the quarterback they brought in from South Dakota State, Gronowski. I think he had off-season surgery and is expected to miss most of spring practice, so that's certainly a development. Feels kind of Cade McNamara, if we're being honest with each other, but we'll see how that goes. Year 2 of Tim Lester's offense should be better. I know they lose our guy, Caleb Johnson, but the running backs look pretty good in the bowl game, so interested to see. And I mean, Iowa always seems to have good running backs, so high on them. High-ish, I guess. Not as high as I was last year, but should still be a good team.
Number 8 for me, Nebraska Cornhuskers. Ryan already talked about them. We're year 3 under Matt Rule. Dylan Raiola, year 2. Ryan already mentioned the receivers they brought in. Both were top 100 portal players, by the way, at time of signing. So excited to see what the Huskers bring to the table.
Number 9, Clinton. I'm taking a little bit of a leap. We're going Washington.
Okay. I don't have them
Excited.
too far off.
Excited to see what Jed Fish has now that he's kind of had a full season under his belt of building connections there.
My boy Jonah Coleman's back.
Jonah Coleman's back. Denzel Boston's back. Damon Williams ascending to the starting job at the end of the year. And also,
don't forget Amari Evans.
They brought in Amari Evans, and also they don't have to worry about him jumping to Florida because it sounds like Billy Napier's job is safe.
Yes. For one more year.
Yes, at least one more year.
All right. Number 9 for me, the Iowa Hawkeyes. Can they get the defense back to form? got to continue to develop the offense. Ryan mentioned Mark Gronowski from San Diego State. I did that last time. South Dakota State. Dude can sling the rock, man. And the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. Anyways, goodbye, Caleb Johnson. I really miss you, man. I'm going to miss playing the role on as you pummel everyone on your schedule. Again, another favorable schedule draw. They get Penn State and Oregon at home. Number 10 for you, Ryan.
Number 10, I have Minnesota. You kind of touched on it already, but I am interested to see Drake Lindsey. That's another guy that if he is a hit, I think Minnesota can make an ascension. It's very difficult to know what you're going to get, though, with these unproven guys. Also, they're having to replace their defensive coordinator, Corey Heatherman, so that's also going to be a challenge for what was a really good defense
A
this
lot
last
of
year.
movement on DCs this year, man.
Yeah, for
Surprising moves.
For sure.
Number 10 for me, you're going to laugh. After I gave them an F- or an F or whatever I gave them a D, the Wisconsin Badgers.
Interesting.
Billy Edwards Jr. and Danny O'Neal now arrive in Wisconsin to battle it out for quarterback. Can one of these two or both stay healthy? Will one of them leave after spring? Who knows? It's another rough schedule, though, man. I'm looking for the new OC to spark something in this lackluster offense. And then there's no Will Pauling because I believe he's now a Notre Dame Fighting Irish, right?
He is with Notre Dame.
So that's a surprise, or that's a piece that they're not going to have there. Number 11, Ryan.
Number 11, Clinton, I have USC.
Okay.
I thought it was funny. The walk-on red shirts guy, he's been doing his post their records. What's their record going to be? And after the exercise last year, whenever USC fan was flooding the comments with they're going to go 11-1, now it's just a bunch of people underneath going 6-6.
Yep.
Their defense was better this past year. I'm interested to see what happens in year 2 with Danton Lynn. Can Jaden Maeva continue to grow as a passer, or is Hassan Longstreet going to come in and seal his job? They lost a lot at the receiver position, though, man. A lot of guys transferred. They bring back their top 2, Jacoby Lane and I can't remember, Mekhi Lemon. I think both are coming back. As of recording, they haven't entered the transfer portal. They're the only 2 wide receivers at USC who haven't entered the transfer portal. But after those 2 guys, they had 9 or 10 guys who caught double-digit passes this year. And those 2 plus their backup tight end are the only ones who are coming back because they either all transferred or graduated.
Yep.
That's a lot of meat on the bone to lose. Also, your 2 best running backs are gone. Woody Marks off to the NFL, and
Joyner Texas Tech.
Transferred to,
I believe it's Texas Tech.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yep.
So interesting times in LA.
Number 11 for me, the Washington Huskies. I expect a much better season, maybe potentially higher than this after we dive in. We should definitely hook up with Roman for our spring preview. He will be juiced to come chat with us. But Damon Williams' era officially begins, coming off a 374-yard and 4 TD pass game in the bowl game against Louisville. Ryan already mentioned what they added. My final piece there to say was better discipline in 2025.
Yes.
We'll see.
Hopefully.
And then number 12, I'll go ahead and go because Ryan just mentioned them, the USC Trojans. I honestly have no idea what to think, Ryan. Jaden Maeva returns. It's a depleted wide receiver corp, as you mentioned. Can the defense continue to make strides under Danton Lynn? Still need to get better at tackling. If you don't be choke artist in 2025, you certainly would have a better season. However, you have quite a tough schedule. You're at Illinois, at Oregon, at Notre Dame, get Michigan at home. Tough draw there. And I believe at 12 for you, you already had one I mentioned, right?
No, number 12, I have Rutgers. I'm interested to see this offense next year.
Ethan Calais-McManus is back.
Can he, if he can get better, man? They had some good wide receiver production this year. I know you lose Monangai. Can they be a little bit more of a passing
Breaks
team?
my heart.
Could they be a little bit more of a passing team
Right.
next year?
You lose that piece, so maybe that reliance isn't there anymore. You have to go somewhere else.
Again, if Ethan Calais-McManus does not get better, then they're going to stink.
Be
But
dog doo-doo.
if he takes a step forward, I think they could be a very intriguing team next year. Number 13, I have Michigan State. We talked a little bit about them last week, and I'm not as high on them heading into year 2 of Jonathan Smith as I thought I would be. I thought they would show something that, they still went 5-7. That's good, I guess.
Kept Nick Marsh.
They did keep Nick Marsh, which is good, but I was really looking to see something from Aiden Childs over the course of the season that indicates, man, this guy's really taking the next step. And
Didn't see
it just never really happened. So maybe that comes in the spring. He's still a dynamic athlete, but I don't know, man.
Number 13.
Intriguing team, but
13 is the exact same for me, the Spartans. Success in year 2 under Smith kind of depends or hinges on the progression of Aiden Childs. He's gonna take them as far as they're gonna go. Michigan State is always gonna play sound defense, and they're gonna have better defenses than that at times. Aiden Childs, that's the key factor here. Smith's a good coach. Childs is the key. I'm gonna go ahead and knock out my 14, Ryan, because it is Rutgers. Kyle Monangai departs. Ethan Kaliakmanis returns, as Ryan already mentioned. Can they avoid injuries this year? They got depleted in that middle season, which killed them. But Ryan, here's my piece why they're at 14. They have a brutal schedule. This is not the walk in the park we thought they had this past year. Oregon, then Ohio State, and then Penn State back-to-back to end the season.
Oof.
It's going to be tough. You get the 3 premier teams in the Big Ten from this past season, and you finish with Ohio State, Penn State.
I'm just not even excited to watch this Super Bowl.
I'm not either, dude. I'm tired of the Chiefs.
Didn't we have Chiefs Eagles 3 years ago?
3 years ago, it was potentially, as Eagles fans will tell you, a BS. It was either holding or PI call. I might have been on Slay that cost them the game. Chiefs get the first down and win.
Oh my! I don't care. This is that when we kept getting fucking Alabama Clemson in the national title game. I don't care.
Listen, Ryan, I can say this confidently, even though my defense of my NFL team sucked ass this year. There is still only one quarterback in the AFC who has proven he can beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. His name is Joseph Lee Burrow. He's the only one.
If I don't get invited to a Super Bowl party, I might not watch the Super Bowl. I'm not even lying to you.
I told the boys we were going to, so I said we can eat. We'll do the same snack spread we did for New Year's Eve, and we'll eat it in the living room. We don't have to sit at the table for dinner, so they're juiced.
Oh.
But I'm not excited. I'm a heavy Eagles fan, man. I didn't want the Commanders because I knew a rookie quarterback in Spagnuolo's defense in the Super Bowl, he was just going to get erased. And didn't even have to wait to see that because the Eagles defense erased him. The one confident piece I have, the Eagles are the number 1 defense in the NFL.
Yeah, they got Saquon now.
So we'll see what happens. But all right, I think, Ryan, you are number 14 now?
Number 14, I have Wisconsin. They're at least, Jeff Grimes said they're moving back to Wisconsin football. I don't know how high I am on Jeff Grimes as an offensive mind, though. He's been,
now we got to flip switch back to what they were 3 years ago?
Well, I don't know that they ever really adapted to the dairy raid. I think they said they were doing that, and they never really recruited for it. But, I mean, I do like the Billy Edwards ad. That at least gives them some juice on offense, but
he can sling it.
I'm done being high on Wisconsin until they show me I should be high on them.
Yeah,
because it's been 2 years of saying this is where they're going to take the step forward, and they've just been kind of doo-doo.
Name a team from the Big Ten West, the old Big Ten West, that took a harder hit than them.
That's true.
It's not because it's Wisconsin, because they ran that half of the division for years.
Yep, for sure. Number 15, I have UCLA. They finished pretty strong to this last season. Tino Sunseri is their new offensive coordinator coming over from Indiana. I don't know. He was co-OC there. I don't know I don't think he had play calling duties. I think it was the other guy who did, or I don't think Sig was calling him. And they bring in Joey Aguilar, the App State quarterback. What? Well, Sig did call that punt. Yeah, man, I'm interested to see what UCLA does next year. I'm not overtly high on them, but
certainly
the last 3 teams I'm just kind of out on, period.
15 for me is also UCLA. Just keep building momentum off Foster's first year. You brought in Joey Aguilar. He threw for almost 7,000 yards in 2 years, combined with 56 TDs for App State. So you got some electric at quarterback. Maybe if he brings something, they can at least fill up half the Rose Bowl for part of their games. I'm going to guarantee you, I can bet your next 3. Maryland, Northwestern, Purdue.
I have Northwestern, Maryland, Purdue.
Damn it. Okay, well, let's just talk about the group as a whole because they all stink. Number 16 for me is Maryland. Billy Edwards gone. Roman Himby gone. Ty Felton gone to the draft. Can you fix your pathetic run game? Number 17, Northwestern. Can you find some offense? Preston Stone, bring it alive. Can you get back to a little bit of defense? You only got one more year to wait for your exciting new stadium. Is that a plus? And number 18, Purdue. New staff, lost a lot in the portal. Horrendous 2024. That's all I got.
I like Barry Odom, but the last 2 seasons, they've gotten absolutely massacred in the portal.
Yeah, he's got some work to do. Did they bring UNLV's quarterback to Purdue?
No, not that I've seen.
Oh, that's tough.
I don't know if they. I don't know. I haven't.
Why would you want to leave Vegas to go to Purdue?
No, for sure. Like UNLV.
Well, you left Vegas and came to Ohio and are now in Michigan. So.
Well, yeah, that just was a winding road to get us how we got here.
Did you see the first UNLV quarterback, blanking on his name, that went into the portal?
Sluka, James Madison.
Sluka, James Madison. Yep. Anything else to add, Ryan, on the bottom 3 here? I think it's a very clear bottom 3.
Yeah, I just am not excited. What I wrote for Maryland is, what is there to be excited about?
Jack Pooey.
I guess, man. At least you're in Maryland. That's kind of a cool state. Okay, so this is
episode 3 of 4.
Episode 3 of 4. Next week will be our mailbag episode. So if you are listening to this now, don't send us questions because we already recorded it.
Yep.
So we'll talk through some stuff next week. Clinton, do you want to do your spiel?
Yep. Hit us on the socials, guy, at ITPCFB on Twitter and Instagram. You can also search ITPCFB in the YouTube search tab. It'll bring us right up to you. Please give us a subscription on there as well to help us grow the show. We've been doing a lot of shorts, and we're going to take these. These will be uploaded into the video section. They will not be under the live. And we're going to see how many hits we can get off of that. And then my goal is also, within these, is to hopefully cut some smaller clips or sections from it that are about 5 minutes in length. So if you guys don't have the time to watch us talk out of our mouth for 60 minutes plus, when we said we'd do 30 minutes, then you can have a little 5-minute segment to follow and like. And then, of course, don't forget to find us on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, whatever your preferred podcast platform is, Inside the Pylon Midwest College Football Podcast. Give us a follow there, and if you could be so kind, leave us a 5-star review. And as well as on Twitter or whatever you can leave a comment on, let us know what you like, let us know what you don't like. We are heading into the off season after year 1 and looking to upgrade, make any changes, or keep things you guys like.
That is all for today. We will see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in. Goodbye.
Deuces.